This is WPDE News Channel 15 at 6 with Allyson, Floyd, and Jim Heath.
Welcome back. Questions are being raised about a train derailment in Charleston last week.
The accident left boxcars filled with bombs scattered along the tracks. First responders and officials from CSX Transportation have given conflicting reports on when authorities were called, and no one seems to know which agency is responsible for reporting such an incident. State Law Enforcement Division Chief Robert Stewart says a better notification system is needed. He says he'll talk with the Homeland Security Department and CSX to determine how the derailment occurred and how such information should be given to emergency crews.
Crowds are jamming campaign events in the hours before New Hampshire's primary. John Kerry, Howard Dean, and John Edwards all drew enthusiastic supporters at various rallies. In Portsmouth, Edwards asked whether someone with a long record in Washington is the best candidate to bring change to the nation. At various stops, Dean claimed that the race is closing very fast, although it's not a dead heat. And retired General Wesley Clark is touring the Granite State by bus. He's been stopping along the way to shake hands and point to his military record. Senator Joe Lieberman has also been greeting voters, continuing to say he senses that a Joe-mentum is now going his way.
When we continue here on WPDE and WWMB, sports coming up. Rich Chrampanis takes us to Houston, where the Panthers are ready for a crazy week at the Super Bowl.
Plus, the South Carolina men's basketball team is still in the top 25 poll. Rich looks at the Gamecocks' hopes for March and the NCAA tournament when we return.
This is WPDE News Channel 15 Sports with Sports Director Rich Chrampanis.
For the second straight week, the South Carolina men's basketball team remains in the Associated Press Top 25 thanks to a 61-55 win over LSU on Saturday night. The Gamecocks come in at number 24 after improving to 17-2 overall. Dave Odom's club is now 4-1 in SEC play. After blowing a 10-point lead on Saturday night, they battled back for a 5-point win. USC will get a big test this Wednesday night in Nashville when they take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. The nation's only undefeated teams remain in the top three as Duke, Stanford, and St. Joe's all stay in their same spot as last week. North Carolina has slipped to 12 following an upset loss to Florida State in Tallahassee. South Carolina's ranking has helped the attendance. The Gamecocks had their first ever sellout at the Colonial Center on Saturday night. It is getting to be the time of year where Gamecock fans will need to pay close attention to the RPI. We'll have much more on that coming up at 11. Let's move on now. One question that doesn't need to be asked in Houston this week at the Super Bowl is the status of Carolina Panthers running back Stephen Davis. The Pro Bowler strained his left quadricep against the St. Louis Rams and saw limited duty in the NFC Championship game. He says he's ready to go for the Super Bowl. He won't even be listed on the injury report. Super Bowl 38 promises to be a matchup of two great defenses in Carolina and New England. Panthers head coach John Fox says it's tough to compare the two squads.
Well, at the end of the day, I think we both play well, and not just against yards, but also with points. And they are two different styles, but at the end result is the same. And they do a fine job there in New England, and I think my staff does a fine job also.
Coming up at 11, we'll hear from Jake Delhomme, the Panthers quarterback. We'll break down the Gamecocks as they look to be in good shape for an NCAA bid right now, and we'll have the Coastal Women in action as well.
All right, thanks, Rich.
And back to the big chill, the story of the day.
It certainly is cold out there. Doppler 1500 shows plenty of rain still moving through the area, especially along the Grand Strand and back toward 995. That rain's going to continue on and off through most of the night, especially across the PD where temperatures are at or below freezing, so more accumulation of the ice is likely. Of course, we're above freezing right along the Grand Strand, so accumulation of ice there looks highly unlikely at this point in time. Things get a whole lot better as we head through tomorrow. Still plenty of clouds and chilly, but at least we get above freezing, so after tomorrow morning we won't have to worry about any more accumulation of ice. And then it looks great for Wednesday through the weekend. Highs mainly in the 50s with overnight lows in the 20s and 30s. Still, folks, can't say it enough. Be very, very careful out there. If you don't have to travel, don't do so. Look out for the falling tree limbs and the power lines as well. Stay away from them all.
All right. Thanks, Ed. And we do want to remind everyone to keep it tuned right here to WPDE News Channel 15 and WWMB. UPN, we will have cut-ins throughout the night.
We'll also have all the latest closings and power outage information on our website. You see it right there, WPDE.com. And, of course, more information at 10 o'clock tonight on WWMB, the UPN. And we'll be back on both, I believe, at 11 o'clock for Nightside as well.
That's right. And that's going to do it for us tonight at 6 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining us.
Be safe out there. We'll see you at 10 o'clock.